You're live.
You're live, it says. Oh, that's very exciting. And as we're live, it looks like there are two whole people.
Ooh, who are those
who are
two
on
whole
here
people?
with us. Are you on over there?
I've got. Look, I'm
three
all meta.
entire people. Oh no, don't do that. Don't cross the streams. Well, hello. We'll try not to overvamp, as is I know my tendency. Watch this. Turn down your radio, sir. Sir, if you call in, you have to turn your radio down. Yes, okay. I should say, have a tendency to vamp before these things, which takes far too long. We have our little toddies.
Gotta make sure a couple people.
We have to clink. We have to clink our toddies if we're going to.
It's a cold, wintry night.
Cold winter night, and we are using our voices.
So nothing like a little warm, lemony, honey, boozy, whatever to keep your throat warm.
You have
cozy.
Almost exactly laid out the recipe that I used.
I didn't give away details though.
I just mean, I didn't think you were trying to give away details. I thought you were just guessing from a sip.
I just want to say, if you are actually paying attention right now and you didn't just turn it on because we need the hits,
five people. Yes.
Can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Is that all good?
Sound all right?
Give us a little thumbs up or something in the chat so that we
please
know everything's good.
Yes, won't you? Someone, won't you?
5, 4. People keep coming in and leaving. And
well, one keeps coming in. So we're going to presume you can hear us. If you can't hear us, John still wants that switchblade. Can you hear us, John? But John, can you hear us, John? Are we audible?
Also, maybe we should just get a green one and we can send this one.
Right, you just get one that. Can John. We get a blank white one that we can paint chalkboardy?
Yes, I think that's a plan. John says he's hearing us.
He's hearing us.
Your cousin Timothy says
Timothy can hear us. That is great. So that represents 1/3 of the people listening right now.
Well, what that means is that anyone who can't hear us has screwed up their own computer or telephone. It's not ours.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Your mom, my mom.
Right. They do seem like the most likely candidates. Well, anyway, if you don't know, well, clearly I don't need the toddy. If you are unaware of this thing that we're doing, I will get my beloved old copy of the Lives of Archie and Mehitabel. This is the sort of full omnibus edition with the delightful artwork of the great George Harriman, who was actually the person who brought me to these. I didn't know Archie and Mehitabel before I knew Crazy Cat, and then Crazy Cat. And then once I found there used to be a place, maybe still is, in Cambridge, Massachusetts, called the Garment District. It was not an actual garment district. It was a shop called the Garment District. Oh, thank you, John. The sweater, I made this. And at the Garment District, you could buy vintage used, some vintage. There was a vintage level with the cool stuff. And then there was the clothes by the pound level, where you just had got a bag and stuffed clothes into it, and they charged by the pound. And also, there was a terrific, weird record selection, not curated, but just a weird selection. And they weren't very well organized, which one is wonderful because you actually discover things if it's not well organized. So I got a copy of, was it Rick is 21? Or was it Rick? It was a great Ricky Nelson LP from, and a couple of Smothers Brothers, all these records in terrific condition from the late 50s, early 60s. And I bought a cast album. I don't remember what Broadway cast album I actually purchased. This is related. And inside of it was another record in addition. It was that Fiddler on the Roof I got. I got a copy of the first all Yiddish Israeli production of Fiddler on the Roof in the early 70s. Oh, hey, Cindy. Yes, read along, Cindy. Correct us.
That's fun.
And inside, beside, I think the Fiddler one that I got for like $1 was a copy of the late 50s Archie and Mehitabel album studio musical, which was later turned into a stage musical, which was later turned into a cartoon, in which Archie and Mehitabel were played by Eddie Bracken and Carol Channing. And it was all narrated by David Wayne. The great.
I will not be reading.
Neither of us will be doing
Carol
anything
Channing.
like that. We have very different interpretations. I do not sound much like Eddie Bracken at all, nor do you sound anything like Carol Channing.
No, you do a better Carol Channing than I do.
More toddies would be required. So anyway, we're going to go ahead now. For those of you who don't know the notion, Archie is a cockroach, or rather, Archie is the soul of a free verse poet who has died and been transmigrated into the body of a cockroach. He makes that clear frequently in these poems, which he types one letter at a time on the typewriter in the office, usually of Don Marquis. Hey, Lynn, who was the newspaper writer who put these up under his name, but Archie wrote them. And often Archie tells the story of a cat, an alley cat, who usually has at least 3 good legs. Depends on the evening. And her name is Mehitabel, and she
has been reincarnated as a cat.
Yes, she was once Cleopatra. She has been many things. It's nothing fancy. It's bourbon, lemon juice, hot water, and I put in a tea bag, which was a yogi honey lavender tea, and there's also some honey sweetening. That's all. Nothing fancy. Anyway, I'm going to read the first of our Archie. Let me get them proper Archie. All right. Yeah. The first of our evening selections. This is called Archie Creates a Situation. Whoever owns the typewriter that this is sticking in will confer a favor by mailing it to Mr. Marquis. Well, boss, I am somewhere in Long Island, and I know now how it got its name. I started out to find the place you are commuting from, and after considerable trouble and being for some days on the way, I have lost myself. But at twilight last evening, I happened to glance towards a lighted window in a house near the railway, and I saw a young woman writing on a typewriter. I waited until the light was out and crawled through a hole in the screen. Fortunately, there was a piece of paper in the machine. It was my only chance to communicate with you and ask you to hurry a relief party. When the house got quiet, I began to write the foregoing. A moment ago, I was interrupted by a woman's voice. What was that noise? She said. Nothing at all, said a man's voice. You are always hearing things at night. But it sounded as if my typewriter were clicking, she insisted. Go to sleep, said he. Then I clicked it some more. Henry, get up, she said. There's someone in the house. A moment later, the light was turned on, and they both stood in the doorway of the room. Now, are you satisfied? He said. You see, there is no one in here at all. I was hiding in the shadow under the keys. They went back into their bedroom, and I began to write the foregoing lines. Henry, she said, do you hear that? I do, he says. It is nothing but the house cooling off. It always cracks that way. Cooling off nothing, she said, not on a hot night like this. Then, said Henry, it is cracking with the heat. I tell you, she said, that is the typewriter clicking. Well, he said, you saw for yourself the room was empty and the door was locked. It can't be the typewriter. To prove it to you, I will bring it in here. He did so. The machine was set down in the moonlight, which came in one of the windows with the key side in the shadow. There, he said, look at it and see for yourself. It is not being operated by anyone. Just then, I began to write the foregoing lines, hopping from key to key in the shadow, and being anxious to finish. My God, cried Henry, losing his nerve. The machine is riding all by itself. It is a ghost, and threw himself face downward on the bed and hit his face in the pillow and kept on saying, my God, it is a ghost. And the woman screamed, it is Tom Higginbotham's ghost. That's whose ghost it is. Oh, I know whose ghost it is. My conscience tells me I jilted him when we were studying stenography together at the business college, and he went into a decline and died, and I have always known in my heart that he died of unrequited love. Oh, what a wicked girl I was, and he has come back to haunt me. I have brought a curse upon you. Chase him away, says Henry, trembling so the bed shook. Chase him away, Mabel. You coward, you chase him away yourself, says Mabel, and both lay and recriminated, with their heads under the covers, a hot night though it was, while I wrote the foregoing lines. But after a while it came out that Henry had a stenographer on his conscience too, and they got into a row and got so mad they forgot to be scared. I will close now. This house is easily seen from the railroad station, and the woman sits in the window and writes. I will be behind the waste paper receptacle outside the station door. Come and get me. I am footsore and weary. They are still quarreling. As I close, I can do no less than say thank you, Mabel and Henry, in advance for mailing this. Archie. Our first selection.
I don't know why that one delights me so.
I
guess it's the imagining the after. You know,
these people finding that piece of paper.
Finding that piece of paper.
Yes.
And I like that Don Marquis doesn't tell us about that.
That's not important.
All we get is
he does not elaborate on many of the stories at all over the years. He simply lets Archie have his say.
Oh.
This next one, while Abigail takes a sip, is called "Why Mehitabel Jumped."
Pull my words closer to me.
Move the camera a little bit. That's all right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's mostly still.
Okay. It wasn't an earthquake.
No, it was not an earthquake. That was just us. Is everyone? Oh yeah, same thing. All right.
13 people.
13.
Hello, 13 people.
Yes, it's a full moon. I'm thrilled that I got all the technical stuff working today.
Right. I think we're also in Mercury retrograde.
When are we not?
Yeah,
I
right.
live my life in Mercury.
What
is with Mercury that it can't go in the right direction ever?
Unrequited stenographers. My high school band.
Anyway, this will be your evening's introduction. Are you in voice, Winstead? Are you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. As Archie introduces her in his speakings, or rather, letter by letter typings to Mr. Marquis. Why Mehitabel jumped. Well, boss, I saw Mehitabel the cat the other day, and she was looking a little thin and haggard, with a limp in the hind leg on the starboard side. An old feline animal, I said. How is Trix?
Still in the ring, Archie,
she said.
And still a lady, in spite of H-double-L. Always jolly, Archie,
she said.
In spite of hard luck, toujours gay is the word, Archie, toujours gay.
How did you get the game leg, Mehitabel? I asked her.
Alas,
she said,
it is due to the treachery of one of these social swells who is sure one bad actor. He was a fussed-up cat with a bell around his neck on a ribbon, and the look about him of a person that is curry-combed and manicured from teeth to tail every day. I met him down by the East River front when I was scouting about for a little piece of fish, since the high cost of living has become so self-conscious. Archie, it would surprise you how close they watch their fish nowadays. But what the H-double-L, Archie, it is the cheerful heart that wins. I am never cast down for long. Kid, says this gilded feline to me, you look hungry. I am all of that, I says to him. I have a vacuum in my midst that is bigger than I am. I could eat the fish that ate Jonah. Kid, he says, you have seen better days. I can tell that from looking at you. Thanks, I said. What you say is at least half true. I have never seen any worse ones. And so, Archie, one word led to another until that sleek villain practically abducted me, and I went with him on board a houseboat of which he was the pampered mascot. Such evidence of pomp and wealth, Archie, were there that you would not believe them if I told you of them to you. Poor cockroach that you are. But these things were nothing to me, for I am a reincarnation of Cleopatra, as I told you long ago.
You mean her soul transmigrated to a cat's body, I said.
It is all one, Archie,
says she.
Have it your own way, reincarnation or transmigration. It is the same to me. The point is, I used to be a queen in Egypt and will likely be one again. This place is furnished swell. Percy, I said, the furniture is fine, and I could eat some of it if I was a sawmill, but where is the honest to G-D food? The eats, Percy. What I crave is some cuisine for my stomach. Let us trifle with an open ice box for a space if one can be persuaded to divulge the scheme of its interior decoration. Follow me, said this Percy thing, and led me to a cabin in which stood a table upon which stood viands. I have heard of tables groaning, Archie, but this one did not. It was too satisfied. It purred with contentment. In an instant, I had eaten a cold salmon, who seemed to be toastmaster of the occasion, and a whole scuttle full of chef d'oeuvres.
What you mean is hors d'oeuvres, mehitabel, I told her.
What I mean is grub,
said she.
When in walked a person whom I should judge to be either a butler or the admiral of that fleet, or maybe both. This Percy creature who had led me to it was on the table eating with me. What do you think he did? What would any gentleman friend with a spark of chivalry do? What? But stand by a lady. This Percy does nothing of the kind, Archie. He immediately attacks me. Do you get me, Archie? He acts as if I was a stray cat he did not know, and he was protecting his loving master's food from my onslaughts. I do not doubt he got praise and had another blue ribbon for his heroism. As for me, I got the boot, and as I went overboard, they hit me on the limb with a bottle or an anchor or something nautical and hard. That, Archie, is why I limp. But toujours gay, Archie. What the H-double-L. I am always merry and always ladylike. Mine, Archie, has been a romantic life, and I will tell you some more of my adventures ere long. Well, au revoir, I suppose. I will have to go and start a pogrom against some poor innocent little mouse.
Just the same, I think that mehitabel's unsheltered life sometimes makes her a little sad. Archie.
Mehitabel takes a lot of energy.
Well, to hear and to see, yes, as well as to
Don't
do.
look then, just listen. Let me take a little drink of mine. Anybody
Do.
else show up?
Do. No, we got the same gang.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, John. We are. It's not worth saying. I feel like every time we are on one of these little screens, I'm saying thank you for indulging us in this thing that we wanted to do anyway. But that's true of pretty much all we do. So
Yeah.
there it is. Now we just got some old Forester in there. No need to get fancy if I'm going to put tea bags in it, right? John just asked about the
toddy.
toddy. Yes, you are extra good audience material because you see, you're the ones who came to indulge in the indulgence. This next one we do both love.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I love them all. So,
of course, but this one,
this one hits home.
it
in a
does.
way.
It gets you here. It's called The Old Trooper. I ran into mehitabel again last evening. She is inhabiting a decayed trunk which lies in an alley in Greenwich Village, in company with the most villainous tomcat I have ever seen. But there is nothing wrong about the association,
Archie,
she told me.
it is merely a plutonic attachment.
And the thing can be believed, for the Tom looks like one of Pluto's demons.
It is a theater trunk, Archie.
mehitabel told me.
And Tom is an old theater cat. He has given his life to the theater. He claims that Richard Mansfield once kicked him out of the way and then cried because he had done it and petted him. And at another time, he says in a case of emergency, he played a bloodhound in a production of Uncle Tom's Cabin.
The stage is not what it used to be.
Tom says. He puts his front paw on his breast and says,
They don't have it anymore. They don't have it here. The old troopers are gone. There's nobody can troop anymore. They are all amateurs nowadays. They haven't got it here. There are only 5 or 6 of us old-time troopers left. This generation does not know what stage presence is. Personality is what they lack. Personality. Where would they get the training my old friends got in the stock companies? I knew Mr. Booth very well,
says Tom.
and a law should be passed preventing anybody else from ever playing in any play he ever played in. There was a trooper for you. I used to sit on his knee and purr when I was a kitten. He used to tell me how much he valued my opinion. Finish is what they lack. Finish. And they haven't got it here.
And again, he laid his paw on his breast.
I remember Mr. Daly very well, too. I was with Mr. Daly's company for several years. There was art for you. There was teamwork. There was direction. They knew the theater, and they all had it here. For 2 years, Mr. Daly would not ring up the curtain unless I was in the prompter's box. They are amateurs nowadays, rank amateurs, all of them. For 2 seasons, I played the dog in Joseph Jefferson's Rip Van Winkle. It is true I never came on the stage, but he knew I was just off, and it helped him. I would like to see one of your modern theater cats act a dog so well that it would convince a trooper like Joe Jefferson. But they haven't got it nowadays. They haven't got it here. Joe Jefferson had it. He had it here. I come of a long line of theater cats. My grandfather was with Forrest. He had it. He was a real trooper. My grandfather said he had a voice that used to shake the ferry boats on the North River. Once he lost his beard, and my grandfather dropped from the fly gallery and landed under his chin and played his beard for the rest of the act. You don't see any theater cats that could do that. Nowadays, they haven't got it. They haven't got it here. Once, I played the owl in Majeska's production of Macbeth. I sat above the castle gate in the murder scene and made my yellow eyes shine through the dusk like an owl's eyes. Majeska was a real trooper. She knew how to pick her support. I would like to see any of these modern theater cats play the owl's eyes to Majeska's Lady Macbeth. But they haven't got it nowadays. They haven't got it here. Mehitabel,
He says,
both our professions are being ruined by amateurs. Archie.
Yes, Edwin Booth. The Mr.
I
Booth
suspect he means
is
Edwin,
probably,
yes.
yes. And I can't help being so amused by that one. Oh, theater people.
Have
And,
always been the same.
Cindy was talking about the what the hell. We'll have a few
What
of
the
those.
hell? Yes,
coming
there
up.
will be more what the
I
hells.
love those, and I love that they're written out like that. WOTTHE.
Yes. Yes, the idiosyncratic typings of Archie
It's It's
Are,
just one.
are a hoot. I'm just
Oh,
checking
boy.
to see if anybody's saying howdy to us.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, it is almost like we know theater people.
Yes, almost.
Close. Here. I was enjoying when we were working on this a little bit, figuring out voice things and,
Yes.
and whatnot, and trying to figure out some of the
Yeah.
There's
no punctuation, that's too hard to
and
type.
figuring out the sentences sometimes gets a little confusing, so we go over it all. And we were talking about Greg's theater cat voice, and I enjoy the Richard Harris moments when you go from the deep kind of whispery thing to the high and excited thing. It's a personal favorite of mine. Cheap, but funny. Oh,
Nope, just a
a little
little.
something in there. Let
Sucking
me have
air.
a little sip
Um,
before we do some more mehitabel.
Yes, this next one. Oh, this next one is, I believe, all Mehitabel. Yes, I'll just watch along.
2 pages of mehitabel.
It's called,
Brace
I'll
yourself,
say
kid.
Archie at the end because it is his
Mhm.
signature. But
And
this
you'll
one
give
is
me a
called
title.
Mehitabel Has an Adventure. When you
Ooh.
fling yourself head first on the keys to type, you can't do capitals much. Yes.
Right.
There is one late in the career, which is, I think, just called Archie Finds the Shift Key or the Shift Lock.
Oh, caps lock kind of
Yeah,
thing.
he finds the
Is there a lot of shouting after
yes,
that?
it's just like a whole one that's just like that. It's stuck on. It's delightful. So yeah.
Julio. Oh, your parents are here.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, Shakespeare training. Boy, howdy.
Makes you noisy.
Well, it helps you
and
with figuring out the verse anyway.
Well, yeah, that's true too. So on we go. Mehitabel has an adventure.
Back to the city, Archie, and damn glad of it. There's something about the suburbs that gets on a town lady's nerves. Fat, slick tabbies sitting around those country clubs and lapping up the cream of existence. None of that for me. Give me the alley, Archie. Me for the mews and the roofs of the city. An occasional fish head and liberty is all I ask. Freedom and the garbage can. Romance, Archie. Romance is the word. Maybe I do starve sometimes, but what the hell, Archie? What the hell? I live my own life. I met a slick-looking Tom out at one of these Long Island spotless towns. He fell for me hard. He slipped me into the pantry just as we had got the icebox door open and were about to sample the cream. In comes his mistress. "Why, Fluffy," she says to this slicker, "the idea of you making friends with a horrid creature like that." And what did Fluffy do? Stand up for me like a gentleman, make good on all the promises with which he had lured me into his house? Not he, the dirty slob. He pretended he did not know me. He turned upon me and attacked me to make good with his boss. You mush-faced bum, I said, and clawed a piece out of his ear. I am a lady, Archie, always a lady. But an aristocrat will always resent an insult. The woman picked up a mop and made for me. Well, madam, I said, it is unfortunate for you that you have on sheer silk stockings, and I wrote my protest on her shin. It took reinforcements in the shape of the cook to rouse me, Archie, and as I went out the window, I said to the fluffy person, you will hear from me later. He had promised me everything, Archie, that cat had. He had practically abducted me, and the cheap crook threw me down before his swell friends. No lady loves a scene, Archie, and I am always the lady, no matter what temporary disadvantages I may struggle under. To hell with anything unrefined has always been my motto. Violence, Archie, always does something to my nerves. But an aristocrat must revenge an insult. I owe it to my family to protect my good name. So I laid for that slob for 2 days and nights, and finally I caught the boob in the shrubbery. Pretty thing, I said, it hurts me worse than it does you to remove that left eye of yours, but I did it with one sweep of my claws. You call yourself a gentleman, do you? I said as I took a strip out of his nose. You will think twice after this before you offer an insult to an unprotected young tabby. Where is the little love nest you spoke of? I asked him. You go and lie down there, I said, and maybe you can incubate another ear, because I am going to take one of yours right off now. And with those words, I made ribbons out of it. You are the guy, I said to him, that was going to give me an easy life sheltered from all the rough ways of the world. Fluffy dear, you don't know what the rough ways of the world are, and I am going to show you. I have got you out here in the great open spaces where cats are cats, and I'm gonna make you understand the affections of a lady ain't to be trifled with by any slicker like you. Where is that red ribbon with the silver bells you promised me? The next time you betray the trust of an innocent female, reflect on whether she may carry a wallop. Little fiddle strings, this is just a mild lesson I am giving you tonight, I said as I took the fur off his back. And you oughta be glad you didn't make me really angry. My sense of dignity is all that saves you. A lady, little sweetness, never loses her poise, and I thank God I am always a lady, even if I do live my own life. And with that, I picked him up by what was left of his neck like a kitten and laid him on the doormat. Slumber gently and sweet dreams, Fluffy dear, I said. And when you get well, make it a rule of your life never to trifle with another girlish confidence. I have been abducted again and again by a damn sight better cats than he ever was or will be. Well, Archie, the world is full of ups and downs, but toujours gay is my motto. Cheerio, my deario.
Archie.
Woo! Worked up a little sweat on
I
that
say,
one.
you all right? You feeling okay? I almost moved the chair.
I could have taken a swipe.
Oh, we're moving right along. That's good.
Moving.
Uh,
Oh, I see what everybody's saying. Hi. Hello. Oh, Trudy's here. All right. What the hell? Always a lady.
yes, well, she's terrifying, and I think you understand that.
Not guilty.
Just self-preservation is, I think,
I do think to hell with anything unrefined might be a tactic.
yeah.
I agree.
I would,
It-
if I
it
were a
could happen.
tattoo and sort, yeah.
Or just toujours gay.
Toujours gay is good too. So this one is from a little later. We've been sticking mostly to the early public domain works of Don Marquis because, and also they're just it's like the first album, you know, things get more mature, but there's that energy of the, regardless, this one is from a little bit later, and I came across it and thought it very interesting. It's about ants, and that is all. It's called What the Ants Are Saying, and it is, to give you a little perspective, from 1935. Dear boss, I was talking with an ant the other day, and he handed me a lot of gossip which ants the world around are chewing over among themselves. I pass it on to you in the hope that you may relay it to other human beings and hurt their feelings with it. No insect likes human beings, and if you think, you can see why. The only reason I tolerate you is because you seem less human to me than most of them. Here is what the ants are saying. It won't be long now. It won't be long. Man is making deserts of the earth. It won't be long now before man will have used it up so that nothing but ants and centipedes and scorpions can find a living on it. Man has oppressed us for 1,000,000 years, but he goes on steadily cutting the ground from under his own feet, making deserts, deserts, deserts. We ants remember and have it all recorded in our tribal lore when Gobi was a paradise swarming with men and rich in human prosperity. It is a desert now and the home of scorpions, ants, and centipedes. What man calls civilization always results in deserts. Man is never on the square. He uses up the fat and greenery of the earth. Each generation wastes a little more of the future with greed and lust for riches. North Africa was once a garden spot, and then came Carthage and Rome and despoiled the storehouse, and now you have Sahara. Sahara, ants, and centipedes. Toltecs and Aztecs had a mighty civilization on this continent, but they robbed the soil and wasted nature, and now you have deserts, scorpions, ants, and centipedes. And the deserts of the Near East followed Egypt and Babylon and Assyria and Persia and Rome and the Turk. The ant is the inheritor of Tamerlane, and the scorpion succeeds the Caesars. America was once a paradise of timberland and stream, but it is dying because of the greed and money lust of 1,000 little kings who slashed the timber all to hell and would not be controlled, changed the climate, and stole the rainfall from posterity. And it won't be long now. It won't be long till everything is desert, from the Alleghenies to the Rockies. The deserts are coming. The deserts are spreading. The springs and streams are drying up. One day, the Mississippi itself will be a bed of sand. Ants and scorpions and centipedes shall inherit the earth. Men talk of money and industry, of hard times and recoveries, of finance and economics, but the ants wait and the scorpions wait. For while men talk, they are making deserts all the time, getting the world ready for conquering ants, drought and erosion and desert, because men cannot learn. Rainfall passing off in flood and freshet and carrying good soil with it, because there are no longer forests to withhold the water, the billion meticulations of the roots. It won't be long now, it won't be long till earth is as barren as the moon and sapless as a mumbled bone. Dear boss, I relay this information without any fear that humanity will take warning and reform. Archie.
Yep.
That's cute, isn't it? It's cute.
Okay, because what are we saying now? 2040 is when the Earth is gonna have some
I'm
serious
sure, I don't
climate
know.
change issues.
Well, so the ant was only 195 years
Yep.
wrong. Yeah. No, I don't know that Archie is a democratic socialist, but the ants might be. I don't know. The ants I think of are always the ones that White wrote in the ones in Future King.
Oh yeah, Lynn Marquis.
It is Marquis. Yes, I looked hard for this. I thought fancy. I thought all kinds of thoughts over the years. And the last time we did one of these, last March, I looked for clarity, because this was the first time I was ever going to have to say it out loud on purpose. So yes, Marquis. I have on a couple of sources that probably one used the other. Regardless, I have receipts. Well, we're going to do one more. Oh, this is just right. I figured about 45 minutes. That's good. I got the Edward Brophy. I always
I'm
thought
gonna be down here all night. You're
Yeah.
gonna be here all night.
this is his voice is in my mind a combination of a theater teacher I had once and Edward Brophy, the guy who plays. He did a lot of things. He's a character actor with Warner Brothers, mostly back in the 30s and 40s. He's the murderer in Mad Love. He's the cop in It Happened on Fifth Avenue that
People
shows
would
up.
recognize his voice because
Oh, his voice. Yeah, he was the voice of the mouse in Dumbo.
Timothy Q. Mouse.
Timothy Q. Mouse. But he was in lots of things. You know his face. Portly guy, bald.
And I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
You're doing what you do. That's all that's important.
Right.
Well, I'm not doing Edward Brophy.
Right.
He's just like the
But
initial
he's your
impulse. Yes.
image. There's a little bit of Miss Jacobs and a little bit of Katharine Hepburn and a little bit of, I don't know, Mae West.
Somebody, yes.
Kind of squished in there.
Like what would happen if Nina Foch got sort of a head injury?
Nina Fosher's much more than her two.
Yes. Anyway, we have Unamas. Is it? Yeah, Marcus. So it's the same.
Yeah,
Same
right.
comment.
Oh, and John, just for fun, so you know how these things go, because of the way that Archie on the typewriter, this is how he spells his name. It's just quick and easy and always has a little A and the Y at the end.
Like E.E. Cummings,
Yeah,
but with
Yeah.
extra limbs.
yeah.
This last one I do like. I like doing this one together. It's fun. It's simply called one of mehitabel's many battle cries. Cheerio, my deario. And we say to you, cheerio, our dearios, which doesn't rhyme nearly as well because this will be the last one. So this is, see, get it? Anyhow, I will begin.
Okay.
Well, boss, I met Mehitabel the cat trying to dig a frozen lamb chop out of a snow drift the other day.
A hell of a come down that is for me, Archie.
She says.
A few brief centuries ago, one of old King Tutankhamun's favorite queens, and today the village scavenger. But what the hell, Archie? What the hell? It's cheerio, my deario, that pulls a lady through.
See here, Mehitabel, I said. I thought you told me that it was Cleopatra you used to be before you transmigrated into the carcass of a cat. Where do you get this Tutankhamun stuff? Question mark.
I was several ladies, my little insect.
Says she.
Being Cleopatra was only an incident in my career, and I was always getting the rough end of it, always being misunderstood by some straight-laced, prune-faced bunch of prissy-mouthed sisters of uncharity. The things that have been said about me, Archie.
Exclamation point.
And all simply because I was a live dame. The palaces I have been kicked out of in my time.
Exclamation point.
But what the hell, little Archie? What the hell? It's cheerio, my deario, that pulls a lady through.
Exclamation point.
Framed, Archie, always framed. That is the story of all my lives. No chance for a dame with the anvil chorus if she shows a little motion. It seems to me only yesterday that the Luxor local #1 of the Ladies' Axe Association got me in Dutch with King Tut, and he slipped me the sarcophagus. Always my luck. Yesterday an empress, and today too emaciated to interest a vivisectionist, but toujours gay, Archie, toujours gay, and always a lady in spite of hell and transmigration. Once a queen, always a queen, Archie.
Period. One of her feet was frozen, but on the other 3 she began to caper and dance, singing.
It's cheerio, my deario, that pulls a lady through.
Her morals may have been mislaid somewhere in the centuries, boss, but I admire her spirit. Archie. Oh, the nonsense. Oh, the things that we do to entertain ourselves on cold, snowy nights. The what? The affirming whimsy. Yes, it is. It is an edgy whimsy that Marquis and Archie and mehitabel have, but that's the best kind, ain't it?
Yeah.
Um,
I do love Slipped Me the Sarcophagus too. That's
good.
pretty classic.
These are not the poems that they teach in, the university, I suspect. I don't know.
Or the high school.
No one, I don't know. When was the last time I took a poetry class? But probably not.
Do the kids even learn poetry anymore?
I have no idea.
Well, now they're all going to learn Amanda Gorman.
Yeah, you bet they will. Yeah, I don't know that Archie would have made a very good inaugural. Time consuming. Also, you saw them wiping off the microphones.
The idea, though, of him writing him a mehitabel story
for the inaugural.
What the hell?
Horrifying story. And
always, it has to be the first woman president. Always a lady,
yeah,
Archie.
Yes. Well, thank you all. Oh, thank you. We're so glad you enjoyed this Mishigas of ours. And we'll see. Blah, blah, the usual. Patreon.com/Rannygazoo. Venmo @Rannygazoo. Blah, if you want to do that. You know that stuff.
Yeah, we get cheerio, my dear.
Our exciting announcement for all of you, we'll announce this otherwise, is that we have declared on our Patreon subscription thing, we have declared the next month F. Scott Fitzbrewery. Did I say that right?
Fitzbrewery.
Yes, there's an R in there. We are going to be doing some regular live readings throughout the month of the short stories of F. Scott Fitzgerald. We have some music that is attached to and inspired by F. Scott Fitzgerald that is the thing we do anyway, but that is some new stuff, and also this happened in January, this sort of the creeping in version of all of this that happened on our Patreon is that there's a whole audio book of The Great Gatsby available to Patreon subscribers, which ain't that fancy. So oh, hi, Pamela. So I'm stuck up there right now, apparently. So anyway, yes, be on the lookout for F. Scott Fitzbrewery.
Good night.
So thank you all. Good night.
Stay warm.
And
Be
cheerio.
Cheerio, my dearie.
dearie.